Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Tonight, we begin with deadly flooding in Kenya. A dam in the Rift Valley burst late Wednesday, killing at least 47 people, and that number is likely to rise. A massive wall of water swept away numerous homes and businesses after breaking through the Patel Dam in Solai, about 150 kilometers northwest of Nairobi. Officials say about 40 people were rescued and taken to hospitals. Meanwhile, rescue crews continued their search on Thursday for more people who could be trapped. The region has been overwhelmed with heavy rains during the past 2 months, causing floods and mudslides that have already killed more than 130 people. The Kenyan government says the rains have displaced 220 people up to this point. For the latest on this tragedy in Kenya, VOA's Daniel Schearf joins me live via Skype from Nairobi. Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening.
Now, do you have any updates on the numbers, or are we still at 47, the numbers of deaths?
47 is so far the latest in terms of casualties. That's according to the local police chief, but they are still continuing the search and rescue efforts. So it is certainly possible that that number could go up. There were reports earlier today that there were several people known to be missing. It's not clear if those numbers have been added to the death toll or not. So this is a huge disaster. And of course, in this kind of situation, we won't know the final death toll until they manage to get through the entire area.
What are you hearing about what might have caused the dam to burst?
Well, we've been having these torrential rains for the last couple of months here, not only in Kenya, but in a big chunk of East Africa. You know, as a result of those intense rains, we're seeing some serious flooding. Now, a lot of that has to do with poor engineering. In this case, we're talking about earthen dams. So these were not, you know, concrete reinforced structures. They were essentially holding tanks that were used for irrigation purposes. So when those heavy rains came downhill, taking, you know, large stones with them and you know, vegetation and whatnot, that put a lot of pressure onto these small, you know, dams that were essentially made out of dirt. So this was the real problem, and they couldn't handle the water pressure, and they eventually leaked and cracked, and this particular one gave way.
Is there any indication that there was any warning to the residents and that perhaps some of them could have survived if they acted?
We did have some reports quoting locals on the ground as saying that they did see some leaks and cracks developing before the dam actually burst, before the wall gave way. So there certainly are some reports indicating that. We know that the authorities have sent engineers to inspect the dam and to inspect other dams that are owned not only by this particular farmer who was doing the irrigation with those dams, but also other dams kind of in the area to make sure that they don't have a further problem with additional dams breaking and more flooding. We are expecting more heavy rains to be coming in the coming days in that area. So it's a big concern.
Indeed. We hope we don't get any more loss of life. Daniel, thank you very much for your reporting.
My pleasure.
That's Daniel Schearf reporting live via Skype from Nairobi.